I'm a young teen female and my brother is a tween. Our dad has been with Carol, 47 female, for nearly 2 years and they got married in early November. Carol hates us, especially me. She calls me a problem child and always picks at me and is rude. She compares us to her daughters, constantly picks fights, and tries to parent my brother and I. She yells and calls us names when we have to go over. If one of her daughters does something to us, like taking our stuff, she just brushes it off and laughs, and our dad lets it happen. We have no choice but to see him 4 times a month because of his and our mom's court agreement. But we hate it there and we hate Carol. So we didn't go to their wedding, even though Dad was super angry and fought with us for 2 months after we told him we weren't going. So we skipped the wedding. Last Sunday he picked us up and drove us to his house. I noticed they were in a better mood than they've been lately. Carol was blabbing at us about their honeymoon in Florida. When we got to the house, Dad announced they had something to show us and for us to go sit in the living room while he got it. My brother and I went and sat down, but we both had a bad feeling. The girls were nowhere around, which was weird. Carol came to sit on the other couch and she was just staring at us, looking like she'd won something. And my dad comes in with a Blu-ray disc and puts it in the player and sits with Carol. And Carol says in this happy, witchy voice, "This is since the 2 of you missed it, so you can see what you missed." It started playing and we realised it was a video of their wedding day. A few seconds in, it was edited to a clip of them saying "I do" and kissing. My brother saw this and started to cry, and I just got so mad. We hate Carol, so that's why we didn't go in the first place. She wasn't going to force us to look at it now. So I grabbed my brother's hand, pulled him off the couch, and said we weren't going to watch this. Carol sneered and said we had no choice. I told her she'd never be in charge of us, no matter how much she wished she was, and told my dad we were leaving. I admitted I shouted this part. She told me to stop being a little witch, and I shouted back that she was a big fat witch who should know better. Rude, I know. She shouted at my dad, "Are you just going to let her talk to me like that?" And Dad just kind of laughed and said he wasn't dealing with this and went to his room and locked the door. I told my brother to get his stuff on, grabbed my bag and left, with Carol screaming at me most of that time. I don't know most of what she was saying. It was too loud and screamy. I started walking with my brother down the side of the road and called Mom on my cell to come get us. We walked for about 10 minutes before she met us on the road. Dad is mad at me, Carol is angry, but I don't care. Mom is upset only because she thinks I shouldn't have walked my brother along the road. If I'm the idiot, it's all right. She's never liked us, barely tried to get to know us, and let her kids do whatever they want to us. She makes fun of my body too, which is why I finally snapped and called her fat. She ripped a piece of pizza from my hands because she said I was greedy when she had 3 chins. Am I the idiot for how I responded to my dad and stepmom? Not the idiot. What a disgusting power play. She knew it would be painful for you and was reveling in the feeling that she was in a position to force you. Your dad doesn't have to marry someone you like, but in my opinion, as a father, he is required to be a parent and defend you against crap like this, and to most certainly not participate in it. Bullying and verbal abuse are abuse. You and your brother don't have to take it. I'm sorry you're put in this horrible position time and time again. And yes, it's bizarre for someone to try and make you watch their wedding video. You could have asked for popcorn and criticised every aspect of the wedding. Love this. OMG, you wore that? Wow, what an interesting dress choice. I'm sure the discount made up for its general ugliness. Why does your hair look so stringy? I would sue. Did that cake come from Walmart? It looks really dry. Did Dad just wink at that other lady? She's so pretty. OP, talk to your mom and ask her to get the custody arrangement changed. Sweetheart, you need proof she is doing this to you. Don't egg her on, but always keep your phone charged and recording. Next time she gets unreasonably upset, record it and take it to your mom, who can then take it to the judge for full custody. You're getting to an age where the courts may actually consider your opinion regarding where you spend your time. Can we also applaud OP for not only sticking up for herself, which is scary enough, but also her little brother? You're an awesome sister. Keep it up. Your mother is clearly the one raising you well. Carol is toxic. And she, a grown adult, was calling you a little witch? So wrong on so many levels. My 29 male wife 30 and my best friend Cyan 25 male do not see eye to eye. Some backstory. My wife and I moved for my new job. Cyan was the cousin of a high school friend, so I was thrilled to know someone. We quickly became best friends, closer than brothers. During the global issue, our job was in person versus my wife's work from home. Cyan is a very kind person. However, I think my wife hated everything about Cyan. She thought he was too goofy and hated how he teased her. My wife takes things seriously and she's a romantic, so date nights are a big deal to her. She hated when Cyan hung out, even when I invited him. A few months ago, I had a 4-month project across the world. I needed the promotion. My wife ended up needing surgery and she, unlike me, didn't make close friends here. Her friends and family were too far. She couldn't do normal things post-surgery and wanted me to come back. I complained to Cyan and he suggested he pop over to help her. He did a lot more and my wife relied heavily on his kindness. When I came back, it was like my wife flipped her switch. Things that were immature became playful. She constantly fell for his fish for compliments and it was like Cyan could do no wrong. Cyan still hung out, but he couldn't snap out of caretaker mode. The two of them were practically joined at the hip. When I went to work, my wife packed Cyan a lunch too, and his lunch is a lot better than hers or mine. Cyan needs this or that or whatever. She showers him with attention. My wife can be overbearing like that. At a small party, I came with my wife and she immediately zoomed to Cyan and monopolized all his time. After he went to the bathroom, which was basically the only time she left him alone, I pulled him aside and told him I knew my wife was clingy and that it was okay if he kept boundaries. He wasn't obliged to hang around my wife. I said it kindly. He turned red, told me I was an idiot and stormed away. He left without saying goodbye to anybody but my wife. Am I the idiot? I told some mutual friends about this and most of them were on my side. They said Cyan didn't know how to stand up for himself. He was embarrassed. Cyan is still angry. It kind of sounds like both you and your wife are in love with Cyan. Do you know if something romantic happened between them while you were away? I think you are the idiot. This story has a lot of U-turns, but ultimately you seem to be angry because somebody, I'm not sure who to be honest, is not giving you enough attention. This literally made me chuckle and is spot on. OP isn't content unless he's the center of attention. Main character syndrome. He was fine when he was being fought over for attention. Question, do you even actually like your wife? Because of the way you talk about her, I question why you're married to her. Don't get me wrong, she deserves way better than you, but why do you stay? First of all, who invites a friend to their date night with their spouse? You realise that just kills the vibe of it and makes it awkward. She wanted to spend time alone with you. This is a situation that you set up entirely for yourself, and they have a relationship that you promoted and indeed forced by pushing them together while you were away. Your wife was in serious need of help. She had no choice over who could help her. You made it. You're an idiot for whining about it and trying to split their new bond apart for your own needs. My wife and I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. I'll call them D and Sam for brevity. My in-laws often send us stuff for the kids, usually addressed to Sam. I ignore this as the kids are so close in age, 11 months, and are at similar developmental stages. I never thought about why Sam's name is usually on the packages. Whenever they send a toy, it just goes in the playroom, and the kids don't have individual toys unless you count the stuffed animals they sleep with. My wife initially wanted to divide the toys into different chests for each kid. I said that didn't make sense and it made cleaning and organising the room take longer. When I pick up the playroom, I organise the toys by type, making them fit into less space and making it impossible to forget what goes where so things are easier to find. My wife admitted I was right, so that's how we've been doing things for a while. Today, my in-laws were visiting and saw Dee playing with a toy. My mother-in-law asked why Dee had Sam's toy. I said we don't split the toys up like that. None of the toys are Sam's or Dee's. All the toys belong to Sam and Dee. My mother-in-law was upset because she picked that toy out specifically for Sam. I just sort of shrugged. It's a plastic frog. There's nothing special about it. My father-in-law asked if I did that with everything they sent, and I said most things, but the kids do have their special stuffed animals they sleep with. Both were upset and started arguing with my wife in their language way too fast for me to keep up with, but it amounted to me being an ungrateful and rude idiot. Then they left. My wife said going forward we should keep toys bought for Sam separate because it upsets her parents that the toys are communal. I said I wasn't okay with that. If we do that, we'd have to buy more stuff for Dee and less for Sam for them to have an equal number of toys. That would make Sam think we like him less than Dee and Dee thinks her grandparents like her less than Sam. I said if her parents aren't okay with that, they shouldn't send stuff. Now things are really tense. With her and her parents both mad at me, I'm questioning if I'm being a stubborn idiot. Edit, Sam and Dee are both my wife's biological children. Not the idiot. Your in-laws are blatantly favouring the boy grandchild, and that's not something to put up with. Your wife shouldn't allow that either. They're even angry that Dee gets to touch a toy they intended for Sam alone. That's pretty mean. I don't see anything wrong with keeping most toys communal. I bet the kids are great at sharing. Though as they get older, they're going to want more private property, and you'll need to respect that and smoothly transition to a hybrid or new system. Exactly. You don't want Dee growing up to feel less than. I'd ask the wife why she seems okay with her parents giving more gifts to Sam and that you find that 100% unacceptable. Return to sender. That's what I would do. OP has the right idea, and if OP wants the kids treated equally, then the wife needs to tell her parents if they can't send stuff to both kids, addressed to both kids, then don't send anything at all. I hope OP sits his wife down, talks to her, and asks why her parents send so much for Sam, not Dee. They need to stop showing such favoritism. You are the idiot. Why have you not confronted them? Make them explain their behavior. And I honestly think this toy situation is the least of your problems. Your biggest problem to me, though, is that you're stuck on trying to be as polite as possible when you should be focused on protecting your children and, as much as you can anyway, helping your wife deal with all the baggage she has to carry from her parents being trash. My husband's friend passed away months ago, leaving behind his wife. My husband considered him a brother, so he began offering help to his widow and showing up literally every weekend when he's off work to help her with everything. It didn't bother me. I mean, not much, but still. Now he told me that it'd be nice if we invited her to Christmas dinner with us since she has no family and other friends are busy. I refused, but he insisted, saying it'd mean so much to her, especially since this was her first Christmas without her husband and we should comfort her. I refused and said that it was supposed to be a family celebration and my family would show up, so there were plenty of guests already, but he said she was the one who needed this family atmosphere the most. I snapped and firmly told him I would not agree to let him invite her to Christmas dinner with us, and he needed to drop it because it made me uncomfortable. He argued and then started sulking about it, saying that I was being cruel for no reason and that he wasn't asking for much, just an extra chair and plate for her. But I said it would be awkward for my family and me, especially since we're not so close. Am I the idiot? OP, have you clearly communicated to your husband how much you deeply resent him spending time with this woman? Because that seems to be the larger issue here to me. Yeah, we get it, you're jealous, and that's a conversation to have with your husband, that he needs to remember that he's married to you and that yes, it's said that her husband died, but that doesn't mean that he needs to be there for the widow all of the time. I really don't think spending a few weekends with someone who just lost their husband is, like, an excessive thing. My wife moved in with her best friend for a week after she got divorced, and I'm glad she did because having friends and being there for your friends is normal and should be celebrated. And remember, your husband is grieving too. A best friend is different than your late husband's best friend. Visiting for an hour or two each weekend, but spending the entire weekend is weird. Does the widow not have a support system outside of OP's hubby? It obviously does bother her, but OP feels like she shouldn't be bothered. Is it because she's prone to jealousy but wants to be rational? Or is it because there are red flags that she's trying to ignore? OP isn't sure which. It sounds like your husband is just trying to be a shoulder for his friend's widow to cry on. If you think something shady is happening, not inviting her to Christmas doesn't fix anything. You are the idiot, OP, for not expressing your concerns and not being more understanding. Put yourself in her shoes. What if your husband had passed away and you needed that level of comfort from his best friend? You should go with him on weekends and help with making her some freezer meals, cleaning a few things, or being a female support person for her. Even the little things can take a lot of stress off of someone. I'm a 21-year-old female. My sister has been friends with Cleo since they were children. I've known Cleo my entire life. For the past 5 years, I've looked after my sister's and Cleo's children. At minimum 3 days a week, I'll do a school run, etc. I recently became single, so bills and looking after my very young child means I have to look seriously into what I'm earning. Since Cleo and my sister are family, they'd sometimes not pay me or not pay me on time. I've never had a serious job outside of childminding for Cleo and my sister, so I put Cleo down as a reference after asking. She said yes to me, then refused when she got called, which is as bad as a bad referral. After 5 years, I'd expect more. My sister is 100% on Cleo's side, saying Cleo has offered to pay me more, needs my help still. They went to drop the children off, but I am adamant against babysitting. My mom says it's an idiot move because I technically didn't give notice, can be upset with Cleo, but my sister didn't do anything wrong and had no notice. My sister won't let me see her children anymore. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Oh, it's obvious what type of game Cleo is playing. She is trying to sabotage you so you cannot get a job because then she will lose her underpaid babysitter. She isn't your friend, OP. Don't babysit for her ever again. This includes your sister since she's in on the plan also. You worked for Cleo and your sister for 5 years and they would sometimes not pay you because they're family. Unless they reciprocate, the family line is an excuse to take advantage of you, and what Cleo did to you was despicable. Not content with just declining your request for a reference, she lied to you that she'd give you one just so she could deliberately sabotage your application when the prospective employer called her. And there's something very wrong with your sister if she takes Cleo's side after that. No matter whether a person is family, if they refuse to stop treating you like dirt, sometimes the best thing to do for your own well-being is to cut them out of your life. OP, contact the job who reached out to Cleo to explain. Reference checks are highly problematic because things like Cleo's refusal are super common. If this is a job you want, OP, it's worth attempting to explain to the employer.